And a good football Friday, Eagles fans. And it is actually a football Friday. I know we're months away from Eagles actually playing a game, but there is a lot of Eagle news today that we'll be breaking down for you. Your Mac and Mac guys, John McMullen and Jody McDonald, here to hang with you for the next 2 hours. And yes, Johnny Mac, you had work to do yesterday. Eagles make both Nick Sirianni and Howie Roseman available. You knew it was going to be draft talk, but the coaching staff finally finalized.
Not yet. Not yet. That's a funny story, Jody.
Understood. And if you want to tell it, please feel free. Yes, the Eagles are trending toward hiring Matt Patricia, but Adam Schefter, who I guess runs all 32 NFL teams, announced afterwards it was a done deal that Matt Patricia is going to be part of the Eagles staff. Yeah, we knew that they had interest in him. How many months ago? 2 months ago. It was a bigger story, and then it kind of floated away when he wasn't officially.
It was about him being the linebackers coach, which would have been a significant step down for him. And ultimately, they hired DJ Elliott, and now he gets a bigger title as senior defensive assistant. That's it. So there's a couple stories. I love the titles, by the way, Jody. I just love them. Are you a Cheers fan? I always tell that.
Sure.
The old show. There was a great Cheers episode where all the employees were disgruntled, and it was the Rebecca years for those people like Cheers.
Yeah.
And Rebecca didn't have any money to give anybody raises, so she gave everybody titles, and they were happy. They were good, Rhea Perlman was like executive director of waitresses, and she gave them all these titles, and everybody was thrilled with it. That's what I think of the NFL. What I see, Kevin Patullo is now associate head coach, not assistant,
right?
Associate head coach. And but anyway,
and oh, by the way, just let me quickly interject. Nick didn't even try and come up with the smallest change of responsibilities to explain to them. All he did was change his title to say, "Hey, I wanted to put his name on the press release so everybody acknowledges how good a job he is." But otherwise, he's doing the exact same job he used to do.
Yeah, he probably got a couple extra bucks as well.
Good for him.
And that part differs from
unlike years they're going to get raises. Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah. So that part's a little bit different, but the titles make me smile all the time. But Matt Patricia. The funny part is, so let me paint this picture for you. They announce, as the Eagles do these days. They announce everything on Twitter. That's another story we got to get into, but that's down the road. So they announced the coaching staff on Twitter, and we're saying, that's interesting. Kevin Patullo, associate head coach, DK McDonald. We didn't know who the defensive backs coach was going to be.
Right.
Was it going to be Tabor Johnson, the new guy, or DK was going to get the promotion? So DK got the promotion. Tabor Johnson's the assistant. The new Nichols coach we knew about. So anyway, and so the Eagles have a media house where we all work, and we all, those of us who are there all the time have our little cubicles, and my cubicle is on the end, and Martin Frank's right next to me, my buddy, and Tim McManus is right the next chair over, and Tim and I are talking at the website. You go to the website, you get the background for these guys, and bang, there's Matt Patricia, senior defensive assistant, on the website, on the Eagles website. And he wasn't announced with the coaches. And then we're telling the other reporters, hey, Matt Patricia's on the website. And then they try to get to the website, and it's off. There's no more Matt Patricia. Now, luckily, Tim got a screenshot of it. So he was up. Now, he's only up there for multiple seconds, and we happened to stumble upon it. So I immediately texted somebody from the Eagles and said, why aren't you announcing Patricia? And the response I got back was, where'd you get that?
Matt who? You didn't get a Matt who?
Where'd you get that? I said your website. And so the whole pre-draft, and this was right before the pre-draft press conference. So, Howie, Roseman, Nick Sirianni are expecting to go up there to get the draft questions, and everybody's like, "Hey, did you hire Matt Patricia? Did you?" So anyway, it was just a funny story. Why the Eagles are, whether the deal wasn't completely buttoned up and published the wrong web page. He's going to be here. But the most interesting part is Darius Slay. I mean, Darius Slay does not like Matt Patricia from their time together in Detroit. And he's not shy about it. So it's kind of a bold move by Nick. In some ways, I give him credit for it because it shows, it shows he's comfortable in his own skin. It shows he's going to do what he thinks is best for the team. It shows he's competent. He can manage personalities, all that kind of stuff. But it is kind of a bold move because I don't think they need him. They're creating a title for him. Now he thinks he can help them improve the team, and we'll see. So from that perspective, I applaud Nick. But it is, and look, from Matt's perspective, I'm sure, he's been coaching for a long time. I'm sure he's had players, and he's kind of a gruff guy, and people have seen him. I'm sure he's got a bunch of players who didn't like him, and you got to get over that stuff if you're a coach. I don't think it's going to be a problem from his perspective. We'll see about Slay. I think he'll get over it as well, But it's, if you had him as linebackers coach, Jody, they're not going to meet. He's going to meet with the linebackers. Yeah, he'll be in with the, when the whole defense meets, when the whole team meets and all that kind of stuff. But there's not that much one-on-one connection. In theory, now he's a senior defensive assistant. In theory, he's going to be involved with the whole defense, not on a day-to-day working with a position group. Who knows? But Nick is confident that he can navigate those waters, so to speak.
And to me, that's key. This is a Nick Sirianni hire. And we've seen since basically Nick took over, we don't know about the first staff that they put together. It seemed like Nick had a lot to do and say with it. They were crossover guys who had worked for him. And then we find out after the fact, oh, no, the Eagles had hired him before they ever hired Sirianni. Both of the two coordinators were Howie Roseman hires. But ever since, it seems like Nick has been the guy who's basically handpicked his staff. So this is his decision. So I completely believe going in that he talked this down between both two guys.
He said, he got asked that. And he said, yeah, he's talked to Slay. Yeah, I mean, you got to do that. I would be shocked if he hired Matt Patricia and did not talk to Darius Slay. And he already said, he got asked about that later in the press conference and said, yeah, we've talked about it. And so presumably he's comfortable with it. And anytime we've been around long enough, Jody, to see personalities clash and ruin team seasons. Yeah, there's always a little concern. I think as I said, I frame it as a positive that Nick's comfortable with his ability to sort of manage people. I think that's a positive. Other than going the other way and playing it safe and saying, well, I think this guy can help my team, but I'm not going to hire him because I don't want to upset one of my star players. I don't think that's a way you can run your team.
No, and I think we see that right here, right now with Nick Sirianni and this hire. And maybe I'm looking at this through eagle-colored glasses. I've had guys on ask questions of guys who've been on staffs with Matt Patricia. He's a bit of a disciplinarian. And when he's in a position of power, then, yeah, he likes to flex his muscles. He likes to challenge guys. He likes to get in guys' kitchens. How much of a position of power is he truly in here? He's
well,
Nick talked about him and said it's someone for me to lean on and his experience, but he didn't really give us a breakdown, didn't expect him to, as to what the responsibilities are going to be for Matt Patricia. Is he going to be in a position where he's going to be lecturing? He's going to be directly involved with Slay? I would doubt that highly.
No. Yeah, and we don't know, and we'll flesh that out later. I mean, we also, I mean, I want to know the connection. Like where's the connection? Why did you gravitate? Now they're both New York guys. I'm sure they've come across each other. The connection's a big part of it, and then you're right. I mean, generally, you look around the league, and everybody's doing this stuff with senior defensive advisors, and they're generally, sometimes they're not even in the building, or the Eagles did it with Jim Bob Cooter a couple years ago. Just showed up one day as a senior offensive consultant or whatever, and he was doing special projects, and he was kind of off to the side. So you're right. I mean, Sean Desai is going to be running the defensive meetings, and DK McDonald's going to be running the secondary meetings. And he's going to be off to the side, probably helping with, advanced scouting, probably helping with game planning. Similar to when they brought in Marcus Brady, Marcus is now the senior offensive assistant, so he's setting it up similar, and they're probably, just sounding boards more than anything else is generally how those things shake out.
And we'll see. We won't know till they actually start. Well, how much time do you get? Next week, the Eagles are actually going to have some off-season workouts. Are you going to have access to it? Are you and oh, by the way, they can do something in the last week of April that they're going to do completely different come June, July, August, and all the way through the season. How much time do you guys get next week?
No, there's nothing to watch in phase one. Phase one is strength and conditioning, unless you want to watch a bunch of guys lifting weights and rehab, and you can meet. Obviously, we're not going to be involved with that. The off-field stuff, the on-field stuff doesn't start till later in May. And that's where we'll get it. We'll probably get a couple players to interview. Maybe Slay's one of them. He's typically, one of the go-to guys. Jalen's going to talk next week. Obviously, when he puts pen to paper officially. So some of the bigger name players, I assume, will be available. And obviously the draft, we'll get to meet all the new players. But yeah, the all on-field stuff doesn't start till May. I can look up the dates in the break, but that first phase of off-season work is just strength and conditioning, rehab, stuff like that.
Getting back into the building for those who haven't been. Got it. All right. Anything else from the coaching hires? You mentioned McDonald got the DB coach, which we didn't know if he's going to be promoted to it. Good on him. My brother from another mother, DK McDonald. Anything else jump out at you as far as moving guys around, promotions? I don't think there was anything really unexpected, was there? Other than Matt Patricia. Other than Matt Patricia.
Kevin Patullo. Everything else was reported. I knew Tyler Scudder was going to get a promotion. Nick had mentioned that before. It turned out to be assistant linebackers coach. Alex Tanney, we already knew, was going to be the quarterbacks coach, so that's a big one. So, and as I mentioned, Tabor Johnson, Ronnell Williams, that was reported a couple of weeks ago, was going to be their first slot coach, just slot specific. So, right. The staff is expanding. They had to get a new quality control coach. That came out, I think, last week. It was going to be Mike D'Angelo. But no, most of the stuff was in place. The big surprise is Matt Patricia. The only things we learned yesterday was Kevin's new title, associate head coach, adding to passing game coordinator, We didn't know if Tabor was going to be the secondary coach and DK would stay the assistant. But, DK's been here long enough, so that makes some sense that he gets the promotion and Tabor comes in as the assistant. And then, as I mentioned, Scudder, Nick had mentioned he was going to promote him, but nobody knew exactly where. So, assistant linebackers.
Right. And the biggest part of the coaching staff, let's be honest, wasn't really touched on yesterday. It's going to be the two guys who are coming in as the two new coordinators, and can they fill the shoes of the two departed head coaches now of the Indianapolis Colts and the Arizona Cardinals? We won't know. We're going to have to let they can talk a good game. They can be good to the media guys. They can come in, be gruff, and be knuckleheads. It doesn't matter till Sunday start in September, and we'll see if they can do as good a job as the guys they're replacing. All right, he's John McMullen. I'm Jody McDonald. We're planning on talking draft all day today, but the coaching staff has kind of jumped off with the Matt Patricia hire, no hire on the website, disappears. Kind of a fun story, and we'll see if it's fun when he gets to coach Darius Slay during the year. That's going to be even more fun. It's always fun when we get a chance to talk to Eddie Kratz. Special K is going to join us a little later. Mike Garafolo from the NFL Network. So we got two good guests coming your way. Keep it right here with Mac and Mac.